Don't use shaming, disconnection, or corporal punishment. And instead, we do set clear boundaries with respect. Okay, so this is tempting because this is the way we were raised. Sometimes this is very much still in the culture that we use shame or punishment as a shortcut to get compliance for a behavior. So maybe you've said something like, big boys don't cry, or you're being such a brat, or go to your room till you behave, or, perhaps you grew up with corporal punishment and you've been tempted to swat or spank them when you're pushed to the edge. And while these tactics may, like, quote unquote, work in the short term, they actually really damage trust and self-worth over time. And specifically corporal punishment, there is decades of spanking research, including a 2016 meta-analysis of over 160,000 children. And this research shows that spanking is associated with increased aggression, antisocial behavior, mental health issues, and cognitive difficulties. Spanking is not linked to better behavior in the long term, nor does it promote morality, and it does not promote compliance. Instead, it teaches that violence is an acceptable solution to problems, right? We don't want that to be their takeaway. And it can lead to negative outcomes like worse parent-child relationships, and in adults, a real high risk of becoming aggressive themselves, perpetuating the cycle of violence. So don't use corporal punishment. Don't use shaming language like you're being a brat, or what's wrong with you, or, you know, don't be a baby, you stop crying, stuff like that, right? Instead, we do want to set boundaries. This is so important to set boundaries. Don't be so afraid of setting boundaries and or afraid of these other things that you don't set boundaries. We do want to set clear boundaries with respect, right? So boundaries are not the same as punishment. Boundaries give children structure, consistency, and safety while still treating them with dignity. So when you set limits with kindness, kids learn, what behavior isn't okay, but they also learn why and what to do instead. So, for example, say you have siblings, your 5-year-old hits their sibling. Instead of shaming, you're so mean, or punishing, like go to your room without your toys, you might step in and say calmly, I won't let you hit. Hitting hurts, right? If you're mad, you can stomp your feet or tell your brother you're angry. Let's practice that now, right? So we explain why and what to do instead. You're setting a firm boundary and you're offering an alternative, right? That's discipline in the truest sense of the word. It's teaching. So let's imagine some other thing. Imagine you have an 11-year-old who resists turning off their tablet when screen time is over. Instead of snapping with some shaming words like, you're so addicted to that thing, hand it over right now, right? You could say, hey, I know it's hard to stop when you're in the middle of something fun, but screen time is done for tonight. If you want more time tomorrow, you'll need to turn it off now without arguing, right? So you're holding a boundary and you may have a consequence, right? If they can't use this object, which happens to be very addictive, etc., responsibly, then it's our job to hold some boundaries around the object, right? If you want more time tomorrow, you'll need to turn it in now without arguing. So you're setting a clear limit. The boundary is non-negotiable, but you're doing it in a way that's empathetic for their frustration and giving them some choice and some agency, and it's respectful. So don't use shaming, disconnection, or corporal punishment. Do set clear boundaries without punishing. Set clear boundaries with respect.